PBA experience. First ever outdoor tournament. We are ready in our shootout round. And the winner of the shootout will take on top seed Mark Mazza. On the approach right now, John Mazza from Bay City, Michigan. And way to start things out as John Mazza gets them all down in the first frame, Marshall.
Powerful strike from John Mazza. And now, speaking of power, the quintessential power man on our tour, Rudy Kasimakis.
You mentioned they call Rudy Revs. Why?
Well, we'll see as you take a look at his release on this opening delivery. He's very, very strong. Puts a lot of roll on the ball. Bang. Well, coming up a little bit light. He leaves the 2-pin.
Rudy Kasimakis, second to 1998 PBA Rookie of the Year. Chris Barnes in the PBA Flagship Open in Erie in February of this year, Erie, Pennsylvania. And second last week to Doug Kent in the Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open as he looks to convert the spare in his first frame. And he does.
First spare in the park.
Third bowler in the shootout round is Eric Forkel, 38-year-old. Originally from California, lives in Tucson, Arizona, but will shortly, at the end of May, as a matter of fact, move on back to California. And it is sunny. The future's so bright for Eric that he's got to wear shades and bowling outside wearing shades. Well, here's a look at what happened last night in match play at Coram Country Lanes. Mark Mazza, 6-2 in match play, including a 300 game, secured the one spot. Eric Forkel defeating Parker Bone III, eliminating Bone from the tournament. And here is Forkel in his first frame attempt. And a strike for Forkel, a left-hander.
Forkel, a very methodical player, nothing flashy, just very consistent in his delivery.
On now to the second frame. John Mazza starting things out with a strike in the first, looking to double up.
For an early 10-pin lead, John Mazza. It's been a couple of years, but I really don't think that layoff is hurting John Mazza because today, for all four of our competitors, Gary, it's a whole new ball game outdoors.
Whole new ball game. There's a lot of things that the bowlers today have to deal with, Marshall.
Well, the glare off of the lanes, and you can see shadows on the lanes, which is something that is certainly different.
Kasimakis.
Well, there's the 3, the 4, the 6, the 7, 10.
Wow.
Now the ball hooks early and goes right through the heart. Certainly more than just a little disappointed. He made the first spare in the park in the first frame. He'd like to make the first split in the park here in the second.
Nothing but a walk in the park, boys.
Rudy Kasimakis as he makes this difficult split.
Well, not sure if it's going to be a walk in the park, but a couple of spares to open up and a great one in the second for Rudy Kasimakis. And here is Eric Forkel now in the second frame, and a couple for Forkel.
Well, our two lefties, Mazza and Forkel, nothing but strikes. For Rudy Kasimakis, it's a couple of spares.
John Mazza now up in the third frame, looking to make it 3 in a row.
And perfection for Mazza. And you know, you talk about the different conditions out here, Gary. The biggest factor, in my opinion, is not the temperature outside, but the temperature on the lanes themselves. In the front part of the lanes, the temperature was over 100 degrees. Now, normally on a telecast, it never gets above about 72 to 74, so it'll make the oil carry down the lane faster. These bowlers are going to have to be very careful.
Kasimakis in the third. And finally, he picks up the strike after starting with a couple of spares.
Take a look at Rudy Kasimakis as he throws the ball way out to the right. He's big, he's strong, he can make a comeback. Powerful strike.
Eric Forkel looking to maintain his position with John Mazza and pick up his third consecutive strike. And he answers. Forkel and Mazza tied after 3 in the shootout round. And we like it a whole lot better, Marshall, without the 10th. Lets the sunshine in, but of course, as we mentioned, has some effect on the lanes. John Mazza starting out with 3 consecutive strikes. He is up in the 4th frame.
And possibly his best shot of the day. He leaves the solid 7-pin. 6-pin, 4-pin goes around the bottom of that 7.
1991, Mazza left the tour for a while. For about a half a year, he was a bit disillusioned. He went from being runner-up for Player of the Year that year to not getting a check in 7 straight tournaments while he was away. Assistant golf pro, awfully good golfer. And Mazza converts the spare in the 4th frame. That will break off his string of strikes.
Mazza finding a little bit of debris on the lanes. Remember, we're outside and anything goes, basically.
There's going to be debris. John Mazza 9 up on Forkel. Much larger lead on Rudy Kasimakis, who is on the lane right now.
Now, soft 10 for Rudy Kasimakis. Ball just doesn't quite get back into the pocket. Take a look at Rudy Kasimakis' style. Look how high that backswing is. He loads and releases with a lot of authority. Unfortunately, the 10-pin not respecting it.
All right. And Kasimakis picks up the spare. Access all the latest information on the PBA by checking out the PBA's website at www.pbatour.com. The site, sponsored by Brunswick, features the latest news, tournament standings, stats, and scheduled live chats with the pros.
Well, a different kind of 7-pin. 7-pin for Eric Forkel. Eric Forkel with a style you might want to teach your son or daughter. Very, very basic, very smooth. Needs to make the spare to stay tied with John Mazza. And he throws it in the channel, a mistake that Forkel would normally not make.
Oh my goodness, Marshall. Lane conditions possibly, the outdoor conditions contributing to that?
Maybe just a little lack of focus. You know, when you make a good shot and you leave a 7-pin or a 10-pin, we'll take a look. The ball's just going to fall into the channel. Unfortunately for Forkel, you know, sometimes you're so upset with yourself for leaving the 7 that you don't make it when you shoot at it. John Mazza taking advantage, immediately striking in the 5th frame.
John Mazza 4 strikes and a spare through the first 5 frames. With the lead over both Rudy Kasimakis and Eric Forkel. Big mistake for Forkel in the 4th.
Well, what it does is not only does it cost him 11 pins, Gary, but it ruins his momentum. Right now, momentum is something Kasimakis has got to try and establish, and the messenger comes back.
Forkel strikes. He's -12. That's what I'm talking about. Mazza's leading. Rudy's -24.
Rudy Kasimakis, 13 board, down to 6. There goes the head pin coming back. The messenger takes care of that 10 pin. And a big reaction from Big Rudy.
Eric Forkel with a strike.
All right, Mazza in lead. Forkel -12. Rudy's -24.
Right now, Mazza with a 12-pin lead over Eric Forkel. 24-pin lead
6 frames.
over Rudy Kasimakis. He's got a hold pocket. That ball looked to me, Gary, as if it was a little bit to the right of his target, but it did hold the pocket. There's a lot of lane oil down on these lanes, as I'm now being informed that the temperature on the lanes is about 95 degrees.
And of course, the viscosity of the oil on the lanes, very much like motor oil viscosity, breaking down in the hotter weather.
And when it breaks down, the lane oil goes down the lane. It makes it tougher to get the ball back into the pocket, to hook it back.
You like that one? You like that? That's what I'm talking about, baby. Right there. That's what it's all about. How's that?
Rudy Kasimakis having fun with Drew Carey.
There's Eric Forkel. See the gold ribbon with the CHS on it. He's wearing that gold ribbon in memory of the school tragedy in Littleton, Colorado. Eric with daughters of his own, Heather and Erica. This is his way of showing support for the families involved in that terrible tragedy.
Yes.
Eric Forkel remaining tough and close in the game, sunglasses and all.